This is a U.S.-China Media Brief produced by the UCLA Asian American Studies Center. The U.S.-China Media Brief features interviews with experts and other prominent individuals involved in studying and documenting the dynamic and ever-evolving relationship between the United States of America and the People's Republic of China. I'm Russell Leong, Director of the U.S.-China Media Brief of the UCLA Asian American Studies Center. Our purpose is to provide a more balanced view of U.S.-China relations for the U.S. media through our media brief and website.
Good afternoon. When I walked in, Tritia said, you look dressed like you went to a wedding, and I just came from a wedding. I had to come here before they served the food, so I'm very hungry. But anyway, I'm very glad to be here, and it's nice to see a lot of old friends and current friends. How many of you have actually worked with or supported the Asian Pacific American Legal Center? Wow. And I brought a lot of tickets for those of you who didn't raise your hands, but anyway, it's great to see a lot of friends. Russell and Mike asked me to cover civil rights in 6 minutes, so let me, I won't tell any jokes, so let me just get into this, and it was nice to see Ling-chi. The Chinese American community is both a challenged community as well as a community looking at many opportunities. I don't know if Ling-chi told you about some of the population data, but just to put it into some framework, there's over 3.5 million Chinese Americans in the U.S. There's over 1.3 million Chinese Americans in California. So, and there's over 420,000 Chinese Americans in LA County. Chinese Americans are the largest Asian American group. So with that population, I believe comes responsibility. I wanted to just highlight 4 major civil rights challenges in a very brief period of time. The first category is on every major issue confronting the United States. Asian Americans, including Chinese Americans, have not only a general interest, but a very specific interest. Healthcare. On healthcare that's being debated right now, we all want healthcare. In fact, the Asian Pacific American Legal Center did an exit poll. This should be on our website, in November 2008. In it, we found out how Asian Americans voted. And on one particular question we asked, how many of you want universal health care? 90% of Asian Americans and Chinese Americans included said they wanted some form of universal health care. However, there is an existing provision in the law that bars legal immigrants, not illegal for a moment, legal immigrants from getting any kind of government-funded or government-sponsored health care for 5 years after coming here. So that means all legal immigrants who have been here less than 5 years will be banned from getting any benefits from whatever is passed in terms of the health care provision. It's called the 5-year bar. So many of us are advocating, yes, we want some form of good health care system, but we also want to take care of eliminating that 5-year bar. In language rights, we certainly want the ability to have language access. One of the most used language access features is the bilingual ballot. And in 2008, Chinese Americans, about 30% used the bilingual ballot. About 60% of Korean Americans used it. So I'm just saying, in terms of some of the language issues that confront our community, and I know Lily looked at this many decades ago in terms of Monterey Park, but we have specific interest to make sure that bilingual provisions and language access are assured in our federal as well as our state and local laws. On immigration, that perhaps is the next big issue confronting the country and Congress and the President. what will be the feature of the immigration reform bill? We have a general interest. For example, legalization will help the close to 1.5 million undocumented immigrants who are Asian. So we have a general interest in immigration. But the particular question is, will family immigration be eliminated? Will we get a reduction in the backlogs that seriously prevent Asian Americans from rejoining their families? Let me say the second major civil rights issue in 2 minutes is political empowerment. And I would say we have some good examples here of people who have pace set and are in office. But in the early 1990s, the Asian American population in California was close to 10%. As you know, there's 80 state assembly people and 40 state senators. How many collectively were Asian Americans? 0. In the early 1990s, there were no Asian Americans in the state legislature of California. Because of redistricting, we were able to allow Asian American voters to have a choice. It took a lot of work. Leaders like Mike Yang, Judy Chu, Lily Chen, we all worked together to make sure that there was fair redistricting. And so, for example, in the 49th district that Mike represents, the 4 cities that have the largest Asian American population, Monterey Park, Alhambra, San Gabriel, and Rosemead, before 1991 were in 3 separate assembly districts. So that we were able to draw it and unite with the Latino leaders to put all 4 cities in this Assembly District 49. So if you don't think redistricting is important, then some of our elected officials here today would not be in office. Third, let me just say one of the major civil rights challenges confronting Chinese Americans today, I'll just leave it as a question. Will we forget our history? Will we forget our history? You know, and sometimes we run into people, even at the Asian Pacific American Legal Center, and they say, I was never discriminated against, so I don't know what you're complaining about. Let's not forget our history. We have a role to play. Russell and I worked for a number of years on the Untold Civil Rights Stories, not because we could pocket a little money, but because high school students have never had a book on Asian American civil rights stories, high school students. Fourthly, let me just say that we are at a new era. We have never witnessed an era where the strongest country in the world, the United States, was dealing with one of the largest and strongest other countries in the world, and that is China. We don't know what will happen in that relationship. It could go great and the people of the world can benefit, but if it goes badly, the question for us is how will Chinese Americans be affected? And more importantly, what should Chinese Americans do to make sure that that relationship has the best opportunity to succeed? I was just at an Anti-Defamation League dinner where they were honoring Steven Spielberg. And in the Jewish community, people who are very wealthy and rich, the vast majority will not forget the Holocaust. For us, the question is, will we know our history? Will we reinforce our history with the many people, the many Americans who don't know our history? And can Asian Americans, particularly Chinese Americans, play a role so that communications between the great people of the United States and the great people of China is developed so that there is mutual understanding and hope for the people of the world. Thank you very much.
The preceding copyrighted program is a property of the University of California, Los Angeles. All rights reserved. It may be used freely for educational and not-for-profit activities. For other uses or to make an inquiry, please contact the Asian American Studies Center at UCLA.